let me talk to you about what we're mostly doing in kindergarten. We have really, really wonderful phonics, Saxon phonics. This is the worksheet, and I've got one for you. Does this look familiar, Sweet Pea? Yeah. And these, we work on a letter for 4 days. We play with it, we snap it, we kick it, we dance to it, we make word lists, and so that we really begin to hear the sound of the letter. When they first come into kindergarten, I do some informal testing, and though many of them can sing the alphabet, okay, and say it, they're really not automatic with their letters and most of the sounds, and so we really work on it. The beginning of school, and I wish everybody was here so I could tell you, don't you get a big head. This is an amazing group of kids. It's not just me. I'm unashamed to tell you I'm totally in love with them. But everybody, there's a special spark with these kids. Everybody says it. It's just not me. Right, Allison? They talk about that, don't they? This is a special group of kids, and they are really anxious to learn, and it's really fun to watch them because they just sponge it up. This, again, the phonics sheet, we do a letter for 4 days, and then we'll write with it on the 5th day. And so some of our writing, you'll notice that we did some sentences, and we used some of the letters that we had used in the past, and sight words that we've used in the past. When we first began, and at the beginning of school, we worked with just print awareness, reading from left to right. Okay, reading a word at a time, spaces between words so that you didn't have one great big word. And so that's our print awareness. And then we began to add in our capitalization and punctuation, which is really pretty exciting. Asher, are you in the middle of something? Can I borrow you for a minute? You want to get the Fickle Finger of Fate? You want to just kind of read through it and just ask them to read with you? And you can just tell them ready, begin, and everything. Don't forget the punctuation, okay? Great, whenever you're ready. Today is, everybody, comma, pause. That's where we teach them what a comma is and what it does. November, could we hold for just a minute? Asher, why is November capitalized? Well, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Proper noun, yes, okay, it's a proper noun. So, of course, just like Asher and just like Chapel, we're going to capitalize that thing. Okay, keep going. Sir, you're doing beautifully, excuse me. 7th comma, pause, 2016, period, stop. And that's our introduction to one sentence, okay? It's a complete thought. Go ahead, kiddo. My helper is joy, period, stop. Our special is PE, good boy, from 12:30 to 1:15, period, stop. The end. Asher, thank you, Asher. They just read this and read it out loud, and they do a beautiful job. And I thought, okay, I'm going to check on these guys. I mixed the whole thing up. Asher, what was some of the funniest things in the agenda? Oh, it was hysterical. I heard this little, and then they're all laughing. Did I turn everything up? I hope this is running. Asher, what was some of the funniest stuff that got changed around? Oh, give him a minute to compose himself. It was pretty cute. Do you remember what some of the stuff was funny? I said today is what?
Abigail.
Today's Abigail. Today's Abigail.
And our helper is October.
And our helper is October. We had a funny agenda that day, and I laughed and laughed, and I went, I forgot. What did I forget? You can read. It was really fun to watch them. And so that's what we're working on. We're working on the sounds, and we're working on bringing in the phonics rules. On the back of the paper here you'll see that they will identify a number. Now I will not put you through this, but I will make sounds, letter sounds, and they must write the letter. Sometimes I'll say uppercase, lowercase, please, and they'll do that. I want it automatic. I want it automatic. And for the first few weeks, we just sat and did it. Asher, I'm going to bother you again. I'm so glad you're here tonight. Sweetie, would you go get an office, and would you set one up so everybody can see what our offices look like and how we use them for some privacy? And then we come down, and when we ID some letters, we'll also match lowercase to uppercase. At the beginning of school, they were always looking up here. It was anything but automatic. They were always looking up there. Now it's getting very automatic, and it's very fun. There. And those are tricky, honey. Remember, we flip it so that the class number's on the outside? And I can help you if you need me. You're doing great, sweetie. There you go. Gosh, I'm glad you're here. Perfect. Perfect. Kind of like being Vanna White. It's kind of cool. Asher, I'm going to bug you again if you don't mind. We're working on phonics coding. To me, we do have sight words that we will go through. You'll have sheets of sight words that come home, and I cannot encourage you enough to go through them. Every other night would be wonderful. Every night would be stupendous, because in there you're going to find a lot of families of words where you'll have the ought family, and we just have to add a letter. Asher, can you make some words for me out of this? Take your time. Is it up too high, honey? Perfect. What letter could we add at the beginning of ought? Taught. Now, we talked about taught. There's a couple of tots, isn't there? What are they? One makes your tummy rumble. Tater tots. Another one is a little person. Not like you. A little person. Okay? How about another letter in the beginning? We're going to need another consonant. They learn about consonants and the vowels. They learn that a vowel has to be in syllables. Can you give me one more? Oh, you know what? It was in Bible. There was something that was cooking in a what?
Stew.
It was stew, and what was it cooking in?
Pot.
What are you going to put there?
Pea.
Thank you. I learned to read with phonics. It's almost, I cannot tell you, I'm a good reader. I cannot tell you how it happened. It was like magic. Okay, and I'm so sorry. I'm not finished with you yet. Okay, sir, I would like you to show everybody how we would code this. Would you find the vowel? Okay, what is the vowel, sweetie? Okay, what is that you just put up there? It's a what?
A bread.
A brev. Okay, and how did you know to code it with a brev?
Consonant follows.
Nice and loud and clear.
Consonant follows.
Yes, consonant follows. Alrighty, and so you put a brev above that. How's the O going to sound? Good. Okay, now you have a 3-sound word. So what's that first sound? Nice and loud.
Pot.
Okay, that's the word. What's the sound? P. What's the second? And then we sweep it. Pot. But he's way ahead of the game. So we'll go through several, thank you so much, sir. We'll go through several rules in phonics that will also help in spelling. To me, this makes good sense along with the, I don't know what to do with this. It goes along with the sight words really, really well. But when you get up in middle school and high school and college, okay, you're going to go into biology, and those words aren't sight words. Right, so you've got to know how to decode. And so for me, there is no better way than to know phonics. Now, when it comes to the spelling, it's in both the handwriting book and the writer strategy. These are, whoever picked curriculum did a really fine job, in my opinion. They dovetail beautifully. Again, we work on letters, sounds, and then we start making them into words. We go through syllables, we go through capitalization, punctuation, we write sentences, we do punctuation. All of those things are both found in these books. And there's a list of the things that we go over under spelling. If there's anything you want to stop and talk about, we can. You're going to see it all year long. And but if you want to hear about it tonight, feel free. Hi, you. Okay. Now then, I have some papers I wanted to show you real quick. Asher, would you distribute these? What does that mean? Oh, thank you so much. You don't have to write anything on them. Thank you, sir. Well, sweetie, just go ahead and give them to moms and dads. Yeah. Don't worry about the people that aren't here.
He's so used to giving them to the kids.
Yeah, well, sure. He's good at what he does. He's good. That's a sampling of the handwriting. You'll see that there's a line that they trace over. I make them go very, very slow. Asher, what 3 things do we concentrate on when we're writing, honey bun? You're right. The letters in the alphabet. We work really hard at having an anchor hand, and we work really hard at having a slanted paper. But Mom and Dad, the thing I really want you to watch is the pencil grip. It's really important. And so I sent home information about that at the beginning of the year, but it really, really is important. So what we do is we practice, we do some tracing, and then we write our own, and then we decide which one we did the very best. And I ask them all to be very what, Asher? How do I want you to write? Very what? Persnickety. I want you to be really persnickety about your writing. Very neat. And I'm just going to have to take down one of these boards and put a persnickety board up because I'm getting such beautiful work. Sweetie, yes, would you mind distributing that one also? What you're getting now is the writer's strategy. Here we do the conventions of writing, capitalization, punctuation, and sentence sense. We have to make sure that the sentence makes sense and is indeed a complete thought. And we're working on that. Thanks, sweetie. Okay, there you go. Oh, remember, honey, it's the one with the quadrilateral in it. I got it buried under here because everybody's got one of those. Here we're working with periods. That's one of our writing skills. Let me change with you. There you go. Okay, thank you. Oh my gosh. I had Kleenex. You okay?
Everybody doesn't want to have those B ones yet.
Not to worry. They keep me on my toes. So the phonics, the handwriting, and the strategies for writers really work very, very well, hand in glove. And they review. What is fun is to begin to see them not depend on pictures, but to realize they really can read. He's doing a great job. This is not easy. It's not easy. You're doing fine. A real good job, honey bun. Thank you. I think everybody's got one. Good job. Excuse me. Honey, we're good. You're just, yep, there you go. You've probably gotten our first little book. Honey, that that'll be good. You can just put the rest right there. Thank you, kind sir. Here, again, on the writer strategy, we're working with punctuation. Asher, poor Asher, but I'm so glad. I'm probably covering that thing up and you can't hear me. Asher, do you remember what that's called? I'm really being I'll have to pull out the tickets for you. Remember what that punctuation mark is?
That one?
Mm-hmm.
It's a slanted vertical pull.
Not a slanted vertical pull, but it's the punctuation. It's an up.
Punctuation mark.
And it's an apostrophe. Do you remember what it shows? What's it show?
Excitement.
Well, no, now that's your exclamation point. That shows ownership. And so we do, I mean, they hit amazing things. We're working on verbs, we're working on nouns, we're working on plural and singular. And they're doing a really, really good job. I call these little books. They're a little book. Oh, thank you, sir. They're little books. You'll have a little library in that box that I sent home of 16 books. I just encourage you to do an Academy Award presentation. Go get that book. I want you to read it to me. Oh, I've not heard a story as... Oh, can you read it one more time? Have them read it to the dog. Have them read it to the fish. Get it to Grandma. Okay, I mean, read. I don't know how you'll find time, but the best gift you can give to your kids is to read with them. Just sit them on your lap and read a good book. And it's hard. It's easy for me because I'm so doggone old. I can unplug real easily. Sometimes it's hard to get them away from screens and stuff, but if you can and make them talk. We will talk, but I also ask them to communicate. And we talk about the difference, making sure that when you talk to someone in communication, you're making them understand something you need them to know. Now a little bit of the F&F. We really are the foundations part. And the most that I can bring to the F&F program is them being very strong, emerging or beginning readers. And so that's why we work so hard on the phonics part, because that's going to help them read. That's going to make them read. But with F&F, we also have a library of fabulous, fabulous books. And we go through a routine of reading. It's like a read aloud. But the first 2 times I read a book, they can't see the pictures, so they don't become dependent. They make their mind work. Conjure up, what does that character look like? What's the setting? Alrighty. The 3rd time, I'll show them the pictures. And it's always really delightful to watch them because, oh, it's not what I thought, or I thought, oh, that would, someone will say, I thought that is how he would look. Then when I'm finished, I will mix. For example, the pattern statement for this one is there is an order to how things happen. And so after I'm finished reading 3 times, and the 3rd time they see the picture, I will lay pictures out, mix them all up, and they'll come and put them in order. They do a really good job because they're really good listeners. We will talk about main character, we'll talk about plot, we'll talk about setting. Where was the setting for Little Red Riding Hood? Do you remember? Where did that take place? Was it downtown New York?
No.
Where was it, honey?
In the forest?
Yes, that was the setting. And so with F&F, we will go through the main elements of a story. We'll do retellings of the story. We'll work on vocabulary. And that's when you can begin to ask them to predict things that are going to happen. And it's really fun, especially with this group. It's really fun to see the wheels turning. And when the light bulb goes on, it's pretty exciting. And we don't get deep into F&F because they're not reading yet. We do work on fluency with the little books, and I really encourage you to use, a reading finger to go from left to right, and that they can see each individual word. But mainly, we're working on the listening skills and the thinking, and we begin to direct their thinking with questions, and it's pretty much the who, what, where, when, why, and how. And ask them to go as deep as they can.